Hello, my name is Cerubellum and this is Academy of the Ancients. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be going through a captain's mode game here where I'm going to be drafting, so I can tell you a little bit about the logic I use when I draft, which I think is pretty standard and pretty sound in the logic. And we can take a look at how to run a Trilane, including how to block and pull and all that good stuff. And talk a little bit about why you structure a team the way you do with 3 cores, a carry, a mid, and an offlaner, and 2 supports. Yeah. So a bit of weirdness going on here, but we're gonna see some bans and some picks going on here. Hopefully, is the interface broken? Okay, there we go. So I'm just gonna go forward to every pick and then just comment it once it happens. So if you have the first ban, you have the first pick. It's going to be 2 bans from each side, then 1 pick, 2 picks, and 1 pick again, and then 2 bans.
Radiant team ban.
2 picks, 2 picks, yeah. And then we end up with the last pick. Yeah. So they ban out Lifestealer, we ban out Nature's Prophet. These are both kind of special heroes. Starting out with a magic immunity from Lifestealer is really powerful, and of course Nature's Prophets is just a really good jungler and really good split pusher, probably the best split pusher in the game, one of the best at least. So yeah, that's kind of the reasons why they're banned out. None of us on either side had really an idea of what kind of strategy is being run right now. So we're just seeing some general ban outs just to see, just kind of limiting the very special heroes. Definitely some very unique capabilities in these heroes we've seen ban out. We have the global teleport and the Trilanes. Everything about Furion is just really special, really annoying. The magic immunity I talked about on Lifestealer. We've got the exorcism from Death Prophet, really powerful for pushing, just really hard to attack into. Probably one of the best pushers in the current metagame. Probably the best pusher in the current metagame, or maybe that's Lycan once you get up into the higher MMRs, which I'm not at. Yeah, and of course OD, really probably one of the strongest mid heroes, really hard to counter. Kinda, if they were to pick him, we would kinda be forced into one of a few heroes like a Razor or a Viper that can have a decent lane against him. Like you can't really beat OD in mid, but you can have a decent lane. You can counter him, like you can counter pick him with like a Pugna. The Nether Ward can really mess up an OD, but it's sort of, you kind of still have to get through the laning stage with him. Like if he still just crosses in the laning stage, he can still be hard to deal with. So that's not so good. So the Bristleback here, I think the best thing to do is to draft supports first. Generally you want your team to be 3 cores and 2 supports, because that way it works economically. The supports of course are the ones that you don't want to gain much gold, or I should say actually the lowest priority with regard to gold. So you want 2 heroes that can handle not having much gold. And Bristleback's not one of those. He's definitely a core. You run him either as a main lane carry, a safe lane carry, or an offlaner. Most often you see him as an offlaner if you watch pro games. But yeah, he's really tricky to deal with. He has the Quill Spray ability, which scales up in damage the more times he's hit you with it. In a short while, it does more and more damage, and he's got, he can kind of kill you while running away. You aren't safe. If he's facing away from you, you still aren't safe, which is kind of what tricks a lot of people. I play him a lot, so I know exactly what I need to do to counter him, which is why you don't want to pick a core first. Probably the reason why they pick him here is that he's pretty often been banned, like in the last while. He's kind of fallen off in popularity, but in the last while he's been a pretty popular pick and ban. So yeah, they were probably afraid that he couldn't really be, he might be banned out or we might pick him. So they chose to take him early on. Or it may be just that the captain, Blinsler here, might just really like Bristleback. So it's hard to say, but I think it's a bad pick because we can counter it, and we're going to do exactly that. Now the other option, which is what you're going to see me doing, if we just go forward,
Radiant team
is, I'm just going to take both my picks here, because it's kind of the same. Okay, so we've got a few picks here. The other option is to, instead of drafting a core, you draft supports, and that's what I've done here. Lion and Lish, both pretty hard supports. Neither of them really need much farm. Like a Lion needs He basically needs boots. He's got they've both got mana sustain abilities, which is to say they can both gain mana in ways other than through items or through going back to the fountain. So they're really, usually if your hero has that, including Crystal Maiden, all three supports that picked so far have these mana abilities that make them really, they can kind of deal with having not very much farm at all, and they can stay in lane easily because they don't need, like, they can just rely on their abilities to get mana instead of having to instead of being forced back. So Lion has some really good disables, which is what makes him some really good support. These disables, if you have a lot of disables on the hero, most often it would be a support. Very few carries or cores have hard disables. So yeah, the Hex here and the Earth Spike here makes Lion a really good support. Obviously, these abilities will do work even if you don't have any farm, which is exactly what you need in support. We also have Ice Armor here from Lich, which is going to help us deal with all the physical damage coming out from this Bristleback. Like Quill Spray is physical, so stuff like Magic Immunity, like the Lifestealer here or the BKB will not stop it. Like, you can also use it to farm Ancients, so that's one thing you can do with Bristleback. So any kind of armor buffing ability will negate a lot of his damage, which is part of the reason why I like the Lich pick here. The Hex here will also help a lot against Bristleback, because if you take him out for 4 seconds, that'll take down his nasal goo. Stack succeed has this duration of 5 seconds, so it'll take almost a stack. And then the Quill Spray has a stack duration of a lot, at 14 seconds. And the Warpath has 14 seconds. But still, you know, if you can take him out of the game, at least it prevents him from adding more stacks onto it for a while. And if you can take him out of a team fight for a little bit, he's much less of a threat, because he needs to kind of get going. In an individual team fight, Bristleback will kind of run around, spam his spells, try to get Quill Spray stacks on everybody, and then as the fight nears its end, if it goes a little bit long, he'll start to do a lot of damage with every Quill Spray, and that's kind of what we want to avoid. Mana Drain also really good against Bristleback, because he needs to stack these spells, and he doesn't have a very big mana pool. He has a String Hero, so Lion's Mana Drain can really harass him down quite a bit. But they do have a Crystal Maiden. She does have the Arcane Aura, which can help his mana gain a bit. This is actually a pretty decent synergy between these two. Yeah, one thing these two picks also does for us is it brings us a lot of burst magical damage in Finger of Death and Chain Frost, and to a smaller degree Frost Blast and Earth Spike. So this is a lot of incentive for enemy carries to pick up BKB, which is, in my opinion, pretty important. Like, you do need to force them into BKBs with the supports, because then we can just pick up carries to deal a lot of physical damage, and that way they can't counter our whole team in one item, which is really important. Like, that's one thing OD is a little bit not so good with, is that he does nearly only magical damage, so you can just kind of counterpick him in one. So what I meant to say there is that if you only have magical damage threats, let's say you have an OD and you have a Timbersaw offlane, you have these two supports, then you have a ton of magical damage, and if your opponents are awake and are smart, they just buy BKBs, and suddenly you have a few team fights while those BKBs are at long duration. Will be very tough to grind through their carry, because we'll only have one hero that does physical damage in really spades, and that's one thing these two guys don't at all. Like, their right clicks are pretty bad. So yeah, Crystal Maiden, not really a big threat magical damage wise. Actually, I think Crystal Nova is probably her best damage magical damage. And then she just have Frostbite, which is more of a good disable. The Freezing Field, it can do a lot of damage, but most often you ended up just being a huge lightning rod. Like, you'll just eat a stun, or you'll just be killed very fast, because she's super squishy. Yeah, so I think I've talked enough about these picks. We have one core and one support on our opponent's side, and we have our two supports here. So what we're looking to pick up to get functional lanes is, on my side, is a hard carry, a mid, and an offlaner. And we're gonna see me do exactly that. So
Dire team
we'll just move
ban.
forward.
Radiant team ban.
Let's just get the bans out of the way
Dire
here.
team ban. 10 seconds. 5 seconds remain. Reserve time. Radiant team ban.
And the
10
last
seconds.
ban is gonna
5
be Omni
seconds.
Knight.
Reserve
So, come on.
time.
Yeah, there we go.
Radiant team pick.
Okay, so they ban out a really strong mid hero. He can also be run in the safe lane Invoker. He's also really good. Like if you have a really good player, you can playing Invoker. He can be very annoying. He also has a global nuke. I think this is not a super good ban because he's again even more magic, even more incentive to buy a BKB. So probably not something we would be too eager to go with. But they could be setting up a specific mid matchup. Like that's one thing you can do if you just ban out good mid heroes or mid heroes. If you know what mid hero you want, you can ban out heroes that kind of trump him. And if your opponents don't figure out what you're doing and don't ban out the hero you want, you can set up a good mid matchup. And if you've set up a good matchup, there's a good chance you can win that lane, which is already a good start. But I think kind of stumbling over my tongue there. But I think what they're doing here is just banning out two really strong heroes. Weevil, really versatile and very strong hero, very annoying to deal with. Also, if you kind of don't know how to deal with invis heroes very well, then this guy is really annoying. He can go in the off lane, he can go mid, and he can go in the safe lane. Most often you see him as a solo off lane because his defense ability is so strong with the Sakuchi. But I won't talk about them too much, just trying to reason for the bans here. I think these are decent bans. Certainly they shouldn't be banning out supports because we have picked two, so these kind of bans aren't terrible. But of course, because they've picked the core, so I can just ban out stuff I know works well with him, which in this case is immunity abilities and heal abilities. So it's going to be a Dazzle and a normal Knight. Dazzle and Bristleback in lane is something I run a lot with one of my mates. The Shallow Grave in particular works really well with Bristle, and the Weave, his ultimate, because Bristleback is again all physical damage, so reducing armor is really good with him, and that's what Weave kind of gives you, a lot of armor reduction, a lot of armor control, also raises your allies in the area. And of course the Shallow Grave, just keeping Bristleback alive for an extra few seconds can allow him to just get off a few crit sprays more, which can be huge damage, because if you kill Bristleback fast, which is really hard to do, the crit spray stacks are really pathetic for the first few stacks, but then once they get up to the max stacks, they start to do like 300 AoE magic or 300 AoE physical damage, or 400 actually at max, which is a stupid amount to be honest. For I think it's like a 35 mana spell at 3 seconds. So if you can force this guy to keep going, he can tear you down. So I'm banning out heroes that allows them to keep him going. Makes sense, right? Yeah. So now we're gonna get into picks again. And of course I know what's gonna happen, but let's just have them down, so if I forget to mention them or if you don't catch their
10
name,
seconds.
just
5 seconds
see what's
remaining.
there.
Reserve time.
So we're looking for cores here. I believe we are talking about
Drow Ranger.
So
Dire
our first
team
core
pick.
is gonna be Drow Ranger. This is gonna be a mid hero, and I think if I made a mistake this draft, it's probably picking the Drow Ranger here and not waiting with it until later. The reason we picked Drow Ranger here is she's a really big physical damage threat. She's a good mid, and she has this silence, which is also super good against Bristleback. Obviously, he can add on to his stacks if he's hit by silence. So it's
10 seconds
again a bit of a
remaining.
counter to Bristleback, and it's also she's a good hero in general. Silence is really
5
good,
seconds remaining.
just overall. So this is gonna further like
Reserve
new to this
time.
Bristleback, and it's at this point I'd say he's almost, well, he's not locked out of the game. He can still just have a good game, even if no matter how hard we hard counter him or counter pick him, he can still have a good game if he just wins his laning stage. But Drow is a good pick here, I think. She adds a lot of damage to our team. Like, we only have these huge burst damage abilities, but when they're down or if they miss, then we need a hero like Drow to step in and kind of bring the pain. And she certainly does that. If there's anything Drow can do, it's bring a lot of damage. She's very weak in the Sablest. She has a decent slow in the Frost Arrows and in my opinion, really good silence in Gust here. So that's kind of why we pick her. I always think it's a pretty good sign when your opponents take a really long time to decide, because it either means that they are in doubt or they are discussing.
Radiant team pick.
And they actually go ahead and pick one of the kind of sustain heroes for the Bristleback that I had not banned out in Trilanes. So this is gonna give them living armor. Where is it? living armor here. And if they're laning together, it's gonna give Leech Siege. Now he's gonna be solo off game this game, so he's not gonna benefit from Leech Siege in the laning stage, which is where it's really huge, really good ability in lower levels. But he's gonna get living armor because that's a global ability. It gives you a lot of regen, a lot of armor, and it blocks damage. Oh, it actually doesn't give armor; it gives damage block, kind of like a stout shield. Yeah. So I think that's why they picked the Treant Protector. It could also just be a player preference, like they have someone who really wants to play it. And in that case, it's a good sensible thing if you're just solo queuing, if you don't know the people you're playing with, to just pick something they're comfortable with, something they want to play. And in this case, it also has really good synergy. Like if you look at their 3 picks here, they have a Crystal Maiden to provide arcane arrows to 2 heroes that have 2 spells they really want to use often. Like the living armor, the one thing for Treant is that he can run out of mana for it really fast. So I actually like having him with a Crystal Maiden. He's also probably gonna be their second support slot. So yeah, so I don't really have any more heroes I can counter pick here. So I'm just kind of trying something else. Yeah. So our next pick is gonna be Timbersaw. This is gonna be a solo offlaner, and he's a kind of strong pick here, I think. Crystal Maiden, kind of good versus him, but the other 2 heroes here are really bad against him. Like Bristleback doesn't have any way to stop people who have escape abilities. He only has the slow in Vicious Nasal Goo. He has no stun, unless you like buy a bash on him, which is a horrible idea, by the way, because he gains so much from strength, and Basher doesn't really give much strength. So yeah, Timbersaw's Timber Chain can get him away from Bristleback really easy if they end up running a main lane, a safe lane. Bristleback, then Timbersaw can just get away, and yeah, Treant's living armor, Timbersaw's huge burst damage, and with Finger of Death and Chain Frost, we're giving this Treant very little time to react before we can land a kill. So that's sort of an indirect way to counter that, to counter healing measures, is by just huge burst damage, if you can just force it through. The pure damage from Timbersaw, if he gets off to a good start, can also really be detrimental to Bristleback, because stuff like armor and magic resist is a really good way to make Bristleback more sustainable, which again is what he's all about. And since you can't really reduce pure damage, and Bristleback really doesn't want to get a BKB, then he's going to be taking a lot of damage from this Timbersaw. I think the Bristleback ability still reduces the pure damage if he's at his back, but Bristleback, if you can put him in a situation where you can do damage to him from afar with, say, Chakram, or you can just kind of jump in before he gets to turn his back, then he's kind of in a bad spot, because what he wants to do is be in a situation where he can either turn his back to you and then hit you with the Quill Sprays that are triggered from the damage on Bristleback, or that he can pursue you. And if you can deal damage from him from outside Quill Spray range, then that's just really bad for him, because he kind of it just puts him in a really awkward spot. So again, I kind of only have one core to try and counter here, so I'm just trying to counter him really hard while still keeping our team here in good synergy. The one thing right now we lack is a good initiator, and we're not going to be able to get that probably because what we lack is a hard carry, and they are really bad initiators most of the time. Like aside from maybe a Chaos Knight or an Ursa or something like that. But yeah, we're not gonna pick one of those. The only thing we have is this Lion here, but he can only really be a good initiator or a decent initiator if he gets up a Blink Dagger. He's gonna do that, but still, again, relying on your support getting a Blink Dagger is kind of bad, especially when it's support that has trouble farming like this Lion.
Radiant team.
So we are lacking lacking a good way to start a fight. They have us kind of outpicked in that regard, especially with this Ember Spirit, because they have Crystal Maiden. She can kind of initiate. She has a disable. That's about as strong as our Lion, I'd say. And they have Treant Protector, who's Overgrowth here, his ultimate. With a Blink Dagger can be a really powerful initiator. So that's not so good for us. And we have now also the Searing Chains from the Ember Spirit. So they kind of have better straight up disables. But we're gonna wait and see how much that pays off for them. The Ember Spirit here, it puts more pressure on us with regards to the magical damage. Like, this is more an incentive to get magical immunity, though he also gets up to a really nasty right click. So he's just a huge damage dealer, really huge snowball hero. when you say snowball, what you mean is if he gets off to a good start, he becomes really dangerous. Like he can take over the game very early, so we're gonna want to shut this guy down pretty fast. He's also maybe a decent counter to Bristleback, to Timbersaw. Talking so much about countering Bristleback, so sorry if I'm focusing very much on this guy, but he's one of my favorite heroes, so I wanted to talk a bit about this. But he's gonna end up in lane against our Timbersaw with the Crystal Maiden and the Treant Protector, and that's gonna be pretty decent for them. Like the Timbersaw's gonna have a hard time killing anyone with the disables and the life gain and protection from the Treant Protector. But you know, I don't know if they have really much of a hope of killing the Timbersaw, just because they are okay. They have a really good disable for Timbersaw and Frostbite, but they don't have much else. Like the Searing Change is decent, but not amazing. They're still relying very much on right clicks to get him down, which reactive armor from Timbersaw is really good against. And I think they're just, I don't think they have the right. We kind of have an even lane. Like Timbersaw is probably going to be able to get some farm, especially if we block the camp, which is what we're going to be doing. And I'm going to be showing you how to do that just in a kind of basic way. So yeah, Ember Spirit, huge magical damage in the beginning. If he can get a good start, he can kind of get a few damage items, kind of get a good farming item in Battle Fury. Then he can really start to farm. He's really good farmer. So yeah, if he gets off to a good start, we're gonna have a rough time. We're gonna have to weather all the damage he can do, and just get things late is pretty much our only hope if he gets rolling. Yeah.
Ban.
So let's see what's gonna be up next. We have the last two bans now, and these are the most important bans just because we have the most information.
Remaining.
So what I'm thinking they're going to be doing here is they need a hard carry.
5
Bristleback,
seconds remaining.
he relies a lot on the Quill Spray damage, which obviously doesn't scale with
Reserve time.
into the late game. So he's not a hard carry at all. He's a mid game dominator kind of character, kind of snowballer. And the same thing ish with Ember Spirit. He can be a really hard carry if he can get 6 slotted really fast, but you know, if he can't, then he's kind of not super good. So I'm thinking, yeah, a hard carry like Alchemist here would be kind of annoying.
Ban.
Alchemist also good synergy with Bristleback. Again, I've played a lot of Bristleback, so I know how to counteract him. So I'm gonna ban a bit more armor control in the asset tray here from Alchemist, just to make sure they don't have that to combo well with their Bristleback, and they don't have that character to fill out their hard carry role. Yeah. And also because he's a really good hard carry. So they're gonna ban out Void. They recognize we need a hard carry, and Void is kind of good in this situation. So that's a good ban, I think. But we're gonna end up going with an anti-mage. So let's just go forward.
10 seconds. 5 seconds.
I'm just gonna take the last two picks here, and then we can talk about the overall team compositions.
Anti-mage.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining.
All right, I remember.
5 seconds.
They are actually gonna run out of time, and what happens when you run out of time is you get a
remaining.
random. And they kinda, in my opinion, they didn't really log out with this, because this is another kind of mid-gamey hero. And another big magical damage source. So this wasn't especially unlucky or lucky by them. Obviously they should just have picked something, but this is, I'm guessing there was some discussion on what to do, or maybe just lack of coordination. But Skywrath here, really not a good matchup versus Anti-Mage, just because he's so reliant on mana, and Anti-Mage's Mana Void does a lot of damage to you based on how much mana you're missing. So my teammates were a little puzzled about this choice, but I really just wanted a carry that had no trouble finding farm. And Anti-Mage is really good at farming. He's really good at farming safely with the blink. He's got the Mana Void to deal huge damage to, you know, int heroes, which, you know, we have 2 now. Else it would only really be a good weapon against Crystal Maiden, which is why people were a little bit puzzled by that. And he has, you know, resistance to magical damage and Mana Break. And Mana Break was really what I was interested in, because I know that Treant Protector and Bristleback really can't do much without mana. Like, that's the thing with Bristleback. You think Strength Fury, you think right clicks. Not really the case. So I wanted another way to just drain them of mana. Like again with Mana Drain from Lion. this should give us a good way to neutralize a few of their heroes. Like all of the heroes need mana to do stuff. So Crystal Maiden, really good. Probably the ideal support with this lineup. But I think this lineup needs a harder carry in this slot. Actually, Lifestealer would have been pretty good. Good synergy with Ember Spirit. And yeah, they just didn't pick that for some reason. So yeah, probably they're gonna run either Ember Spirit or Skywrath mid. We could run a Drow Ranger or an Anti Mage mid. Or a Timber Saw actually. And then run Anti Mage offlane. So it's hard for them to know what we're gonna do. It's hard for us to know what they're gonna do. Like they have two common offlaners as well in Twin Protector and Bristleback. Twin Protector are much more passive offlaner than Bristleback, but yeah. They could, and then yeah, okay, they are running Timber Saw support because they don't have any other supports. So yeah, we have both kind of the same layout with regard to damage threats. Like we have some big magical damage threats in Timber Saw, Lich, Lion, and Anti-Mage's ulti. And they have Skywrath, who's one of the biggest magical damage threats, and Ember Spirit, who's also decent at it, and a little bit from Crystal Maiden. And then they have physical damage from these two, Ember Spirit and Bristleback. We have it from Drow Ranger and Anti-Mage. So again, can't just buy a BKB against one of those teams, or either of these teams, and expect to be completely safe in fights. There's still a way to force through damage, which is very important. It's going to make it harder for the other team to kind of manage that. Now, what we're going to see here is both teams end up running a tri-lane. So, a tri-lane means that you have your hard carry in lane on your safe lane. Hope that laugh is not too loud, that you can actually hear me still. If I was
Prepare
talking,
for battle.
But yeah, so what we're gonna see, I'm just gonna get this a little bit further along. Oh yeah, but what you're gonna see is this down here is what you call a safe lane. This is the easiest lane to farm for your team. And we're gonna send the Anti-Mage down here. He's a hard carry, he needs all the farm he can get, he needs to get off to a good start, so this is the lane you put him on. And to make him absolutely safe, and to really help him out, we're gonna send two supports with him in the Lion and the Lich. And this is gonna do a few things. It's gonna make it virtually or very hard to attack into. So if they have two on the offlane, they're gonna need to rotate their mid in, which gives our mid a really good advantage because there's gonna be no mid hero for a while. In order to be 3-on-3, in which case it's pretty even if we end up 3-on-3 in that way. But if it's just two on their side against our 3, then we can actually set up kills pretty easy. So that's how it matches up versus dual lane, and why I think tri-lanes are better 90% of the time, unless you have some really specific dual lane combos. Something I should cover another time. Our offlane is going to be our Timber Saw. He's got an escape ability, he's got a defensive ability, he's a really good offlaner, especially if you know how to handle him. And our mid is going to be our Drow Ranger. She's really good at farming, she can snowball pretty hard, she does a lot of damage. So it's pretty good for a mid lane. Now, let's take a look at their lanes. They're gonna have a Skywrath mid. Really good mid laner. Not the worst matchup against Drow Ranger, though the silence kinda hurts him. She doesn't have super much int. Can I just see what kind of int gain she has? Yeah, she's actually pretty low on int, so he can actually do a lot of damage to her. Like Skywrath's gimmick is that he has, or not gimmick, but his kind of thing is that he has an ability that does a damage multiplier depending on how much more int he has, or the difference in int. Or not actually the difference in int. I'm thinking of OD, but this is just depending on Skywrath's int. So that was actually pointless. What Drow Ranger was there. So probably this is just a decent matchup for him. We're gonna have the Bristleback offlane. He's going for the main lane for some reason. Gonna have a tri-lane for their side, Crystal Maiden, Twin Protector, and Ember Spirit in top. Now, I'm just actually gonna run this replay. And I need to set it to free camera. Go. So, Ember Spirit gonna act as their hard carry. Not a bad choice. Like if he can get online before our Anti-Mage, we could be in a bit of pain, just because he can do some nasty stuff. Then he can kind of have there's a window there. If they get even amounts of farm, he comes online sooner, but he doesn't come online as hard as Anti-Mage when Anti-Mage does come online. So in the kind of late mid game, Ember Spirit comes online. They have a window where they are at an advantage in fights. before our anti-mage comes online. If things go completely evenly, they're not going to go completely evenly, of course, but if they did.
The battle begins.
Now, one thing that I need to stress here is blocking. So, yeah, got a little bit of fighting for the rune here. This is really good. You kind of tell if players know a bit about what they're doing by if they pay attention to these runes. They spawn at 0, so players often congregate towards these and try to see if they can pick him up. What we're gonna see is something a little bit more high level from this Timbersaw. He asked me for a ward, and I kindly supplied him because he wants to block this camp. Now, our opponents aren't gonna do this. They're gonna leave this camp open to us, which means we're gonna be able to pull and we're gonna be able to deny entire waves from them. And that's what this Timbersaw wants to prevent by just planting a ward right on top of it, which prevents the creeps from spawning, which in turn prevents them from being able to drag them out here, intercepting the wave and denying it, which means that the wave will always make it down to the Timbersaw unless something else really weird happens, and which will keep a constant flow of experience towards him. So Joe is gonna pick up the rune, which is gonna be an invis rune, not the most interesting. We don't really have a hope of getting a kill with that early on, but you know, it's a rune that didn't go towards the enemy. I'm gonna do the usual list thing and just deny and get XP as fast as possible with the sacrifice. Our anti-mage, that's one thing I wanted to mention. Let's take a look at the different items we got from people. So, as I've mentioned many times by now, carries really want farm, and a good way to get farm early on, the best way to get damage really early is the Quelling Blade, which gives you a lot of damage to creeps, and only to creeps. Or to neutral, or yeah, to creeps. So this does literally nothing against other heroes, but it makes it a lot easier to last hit, which is why he bought it here. He wants to really ensure that he gets a lot of last hits early on, and then it can be kind of worth it. It costs about 200, I think, 250. I don't play a lot of carry, so yeah. I think actually this is a mistake from the Ember Spirit, probably, and he also kind of spec'd odd. Normally what you want, like this is, normally what you want is this Flame Guard, because it gives you a lot of magic absorb and a lot of damage per second around you. So this is just a super good thing to max early on. Maybe it's okay to get a 1 point in this. Yeah, it actually looks fine. So this is the more aggressive option, I think, probably. But he could have definitely picked up a Quelling Blade just to really rack up those last hits. Pretty standard here from the Train Protector. Looks like the Christian Maiden picked up all the support items, which would be pretty much the usual. I don't know how much I like this Stout Shield though. This is odd on our support. Yeah, like he could have maybe a Magic Wand or something. Better. Yeah, against the Timbersaw, maybe not. Yeah, Christian Maiden, she probably bought their couriers, she probably bought their wards. She placed them in pretty good spots. Spots here to look over the runes. You pretty much only need, you strictly speaking only needed to watch over one rune, because then you can just check it every 2 minutes and see if the rune is there. Because if the rune isn't there, it'll have spawned in the other one, unless it's got taken already, of course. You can see here, there's the ward we have that's blocking here. And our another one went down here to just kind of give us vision about this area and vision of this rune spot. So we only have vision of one rune spot. But that's also pretty much only what we need. The mid hero, pretty standard. Lots of tangos. Maybe we would have settled for 4 tangos, but the 3 clarities here is just so he can spam a lot of spells. Skyrife loves to spam spells. Magic Stick here is probably a matchup thing. Like, she knows that Skyrife is a spammer, so she's gonna pick up Magic Stick so that it can get a lot of charges, negate a lot of damage, give her a lot of extra mana. Really good stuff. Timbersaw gets the Stout Shield. He's gonna be under a lot of fire probably, and it measures a lot. It goes really well with his reactive armor. So that's really good. One thing about the Timbersaw, in our earlier Timbersaw video, I mentioned that his pure damage would go through magic immunity like BKB or specifically actually Lifestealer's Rage, and that's untrue. Like the stat negation from Whirling Death will go through BKB, but not the damage. So my bad on that one, just wanted to clarify in case I had deceived you there. Yeah. Okay, I don't like this from the Lion actually. He looks like he's gearing up for a Tranquil Boots. I think this Ring of Protection is reasonable, but this Ring of Regen is not really. This is gonna make him a bit vulnerable. Like maybe he just thought our matchup was so good that he could afford this. And now we're gonna see the pull down here. But usually, the reason I don't like this is usually you definitely want some regen. I don't think he's already spent it, so this pretty much looked like he spent all his starting gold on stat items, which is very greedy in my opinion. At least get one set of tangos. Certainly over 2 iron branches if you're gonna go with this. Get tangos if you could afford it. So what I've done here is I've done a stack. Let's just go back a little bit. Yeah, I have done a stack, so that would have been, yeah. So the first creeps spawn at 30 seconds here. So at 30 seconds, the first jungle creeps spawn, and then if you pull at 53, as you can see me do here, you can make them stack. So we're just gonna watch here. I'm gonna drag them out. There's a box here that if these are outside this box, if there's nothing obstructing this box in here, then new creeps will spawn. So that's kind of a weird, you can call it an emergent mechanic that happened in Dota 1 and they've chosen to carry over in Dota 2 because it's a really essential part of the gameplay. Because we can do this then. So I've just buffed us this camp really, which means it's now big enough to take on a wave of creeps without dying. And this is what, yeah, so a bit of immature chat here. I think there was maybe a pause, yeah. So this is why you put this ward down here, because it blocks these creeps spawning, which means there's no way you can actually do a pull in here and deny the camp, or deny the wave. Yeah. So this means I've just denied. Effectively, this is as big as 5 denies against the bristleback. Of course, Lich is even further good at doing this because I can just use sacrifice to kill one of the minions in the creep wave, which is gonna grind down this less, and it means I can just actually deny 2 waves with it because I can kill off 2 creeps really easy. At least if I remember to use my sacrifice. Yeah, I do. Okay. So a little bit late on it, but still pretty good. Here we see the rune spawned. We both teams have wasted on it. We actually knew this ward was there. We saw them place it early on, but we didn't do anything about it. At 200 gold for the sentries is expensive early on. And we didn't have an invis here, we needed a counter, so I don't think anyone could afford it or wanted to do that. That's another thing Lion could have done instead of buying these early items. Like, he's even pretty low on life. Like, he could have had some regen and corrected that easier. So I'm gonna go around here and kind of try to force the bristleback back here. And this is just making the most out of our pull and our situation here, because now the bristleback's out of XP range. Like, he's way far from getting last hits. He's actually really far from getting XP from most of the rest of the waves that come through. So he's gonna be pretty under level probably, even though we are 3 in this lane. So he's gonna be probably comparably leveled to our anti-mage at this point, I think. Hero levels, we see anti-mage level 3, bristleback is level 3, yeah. So this is pretty much what you expect. Normally Lich, I would be a little bit lower level, but because I have sacrifice to kind of help me out there, I can kind of negate that. Yeah, so this is pretty much what you expect. The mids leading in that front, and our supports generally being lower, and our carries and offlaners kind of being similar here. So actually would have thought our Timbersaw would be further ahead based on the pulls and stuff, but looks like he's just gotten his level 3. Bristleback has also just gotten level 3, so that's actually dead even. Yeah. If we look at the last hits, just really quick, I can just play it up again. So, yeah, it looks like the Ember Spirit is doing well, and they are actually crushing our mid lane as well. But Bristleback has got nothing over here, and he has no mana, so he can really not do anything. That's one thing. He can use Krill Spray to last hit, so Lion's doing a good job of just draining of a mana, keeping him completely negating all chance he has of getting much last hits. So where our offlaner at this point has 6 last hits, not fantastic by enemies, Bristleback has nothing. He has only gotten passive gold at this point. He also has a bad build to start with, but you know, what can you do? And now our anti-mage is kind of catching up. Our mid is getting kind of slaughtered though. She's at 3 versus 10. So this is actually pretty bad. I was pretty confident we were winning most lanes at this point, just because our lane is going so well. So this is kind of making me look at it a little bit differently at least. Yeah, that's another thing we can do here today. Is just look at a little bit of how to analyze replays, and yeah, checked it out. So of course there's these graphs as well. You can see that we are indeed leading a little bit. This is very little though. This is 300 XP. That's almost not worth talking about. And completely even on the gold. So that's probably that mid lane that's making it even on the gold, because we are winning this lane over here. Like has he gotten a last hit? No, he has gotten nothing so far. So this lane has earned them no gold, but their mid lane is earning them more gold than ours. She's still at 4 last hits, he's at 14, so the Skyraf is doing a hugely good job there. Despite it being a random hero. Yeah, our Anti-Mage is doing really well now. We should start seeing some good items come up on him. He's got a Ring of Health, a really good starting item. Kinda good, just because it gives him a lot of regen, makes him, again, stay in range. It's something we're gonna see a lot of the heroes on our team kinda emphasize. So yeah, Orion gets off an early Boots of Travel. Again, he hasn't had to buy any support items yet, so that's Boots of Tranquil Boots, Boots of Tranquility. And yeah, that's obviously good for him. Gonna allow him to stay in lane really easily because of that huge regen. But not super good for me, so I'm starting to fall a little behind there. They are kind of leading last hits. Drow is getting really crushed in mid lane. So, okay, I thought I got a bit lucky with that Drow pick, because picking the mid early on will mean that the opponents, like we did with the Bristleback, our opponents will have a good chance of counter picking her. And even though they're random, they kind of got a good hero against a team, so maybe he just got out executed. She does have a bottle up now. She did get a rune, a regen rune, so that's gonna help her out probably a good bit. Our Timbersaw over here, getting a decent, I would say this is probably not terrible for an offlaner. He hasn't died, he's gotten 11 last hits by that point. He's actually doing better than our mid, which is kind of illustrating, like, against 3 players, this guy is doing as well as our Drow, or better than our Drow is against 1. Oh, she is getting a bit now. So that bottle probably helping her out a bit. Even though she bought the magic stick and everything, I'm kind of surprised by that. Anti-Mage, doing good. 31 last hits, leading the board. Really good. Not super far ahead of the Ember Spirit though. So things are actually super freaking even right now. I'm gonna do another stack here. Try to deny yet more. Let's check the Bristleback. He's got 1 last hit. He's gotten about 40 gold, 60 gold from this lane. There you just caught their treant who used living armor on their tower here, just to he can use it on the tower to heal it. Basically, he's the only hero I think that can do that. Actually, regen towers. He's a really good defensive hero, treant protector. We see here, there's the stacks of this going up. He's chosen to get a lot of Timber Chain over reactive armor, which might be good in this lane. Since there isn't too much right click damage for him to worry about. He's gotten level 6 now, which is huge. Really huge. Let's just take a look at the graphs again. We're dead even on XP. Like, this is nothing. Like, completely nothing. And they are actually leading on gold. So I would say, with the 1 kV being that I think we have the heaviest carry, the hardest carry in Anti-Mage, and Anti-Mage is getting good farm and coming online, then things are actually looking to be ever so slightly in their favor. Just because, mainly because of this of 4x4 here on Skyraf, but also because this here Ember Spirit is doing kind of well. So yeah, but we see that Drow is still getting her XP, so it's only the goal that she's being frozen out of there in mid. But yeah, our offlaner is still doing pretty amazing. Like, that's the big story here, is that our offlaner has 8 times the last hits of their offlaner. So yeah, but their mid has twice the last hits of our mid, so that's not so good. We're gonna have Timbersaw coming down here. They're gonna look for a kill on this Skyraf. Skyraf making a big mistake here, going too far forward. They had no vision up here. They couldn't see the Timbersaw coming, and he just dies to the burst damage of Timbersaw, and that just turned around the lane completely. Let's take a look at the swing there. Yeah, so you can see why I thought the 100 XP or so of before. Now it's about 700, 750 in our favor. Sorry. So that's obviously a huge kill there, just because Skywrath was doing so well. Now he's doing kind of badly. Else things were completely even before, so that was I'm actually really surprised it was so even, just because we did such a good job of shutting down this Bristleback. He's only gotten 5 last hits still, which is honestly pretty miserable. Like, I have 5 as a hard support, and the offlaner has 5, and Lion has 2, so that is not what you want to have happen at all. Yeah. And in general, if you play support, this is what you can expect to have at about 8 minutes. So, Lion's been a bit greedy. He's actually got Tranquil Boots up, so he's a rich support right here. So yeah, a lot of people think that's kind of what sucks about being support. You don't get much farm, you don't get many items. But I think it's pretty good. I care more about winning, I care more about, you know, getting good matches. And this is the most efficient way to run it, so that's one of the reasons why I play support. As we see here, Anti-Mage still crushing, really doing well. He's not tons far ahead of this Ember Spirit though, so he is doing well in that regard.
Your place is here.
Yeah, Timber Chain, escapability, so good. And now he can just kind of farm up. And yeah, this is what they don't want to happen. They don't want him to be down here at the tower where he can get last hits. He just got like 4 last hits there, really good. This Timbersaw is doing really well. He also set up the kid mid, so this is just going really well for the Timbersaw. And it's kind of our Drow who's actually struggling a bit. She's catching up as well, so yeah, of course. There was a gank on the Skywrath mid, which means that Drow would have had free farm for a while. So no surprise there. She's almost level 9. She's about half a level ahead of the Skywrath. So even though it's kind of a sucky matchup for her, it's going pretty well for her. She's the highest level. What? Anti-Mage is level 5. Okay, he's actually not that far behind. So he's only level 5 right now. So maybe now, we started out doing a good job against the Bristleback, but now he's starting to get a bit more traction. He's failing to hit these last hits though. So yeah, it can be really tricky as Bristleback, because he kind of hits before his animation seems like it should be hit, which is very unusual. So unless you have very much experience, it can be kind of hard. So they really shouldn't go on this. There's 3 heroes here. I don't think they can hope to do much. And and Timbersaw does not have any mana, so he's obviously not going to be doing much. Yeah, they're going to end up backing out. So that's pretty good. They're going to come down here, look for killing the anti. He's really hard to kill though because of this blink and his spell shield. So yeah, I think maybe we can actually turn this around. I've got my chain frost up actually. This is, and we've got Finger of Death as well. This is very dangerous for them. Like, we have 2 huge nuke spells online. I'm just looking for a good chance to use them here. So yeah, I was just really trying to see if I could catch them when the wave has just died. There's nothing but these 2 heroes for it to bounce between. That would have been ideal for my chain frost, but no such luck. Yeah, I'm gonna just throw out my my Force Blast just to see what may happen. There they were close enough together that I thought, fuck it, let's try. And good maneuvering from the, what's it called, Skywrath there, kind of saved it from bouncing, but that also meant he went so far back, he got caught out by the Hex, and now we got a kill. So, I think that was pretty good play from us. They kind of lingered around in a situation where they really had no business being there. If they had hit us before we'd gotten level 6 with these 2, then it would have been a lot less dangerous. We actually didn't even use Finger of Death there. I think if he'd Finger of Death the Bristleback, we could have gotten him as well. But this is obviously fine. Like, we got a kill. They rotated their mid in to try and get a gank, and we got a kill. That is horrible.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So, Drow starting to get a little bit more farm, a little bit, teensy bit more. She's actually doing really bad. If we take a look at their Skywrath, he's doing equally bad. So they both have pretty much nothing, but the Skywrath at least has the excuse that he's died twice. He's got no kill, he's got no assists. Drow has 1 kill. And okay, she looks like she's gonna be going for a Shadow Blade. Oh, I'm missing engagement down here, so let's just move back a bit so I can take a look at this. So you see how I died to the Skyref just before. Yeah. So looks like Skyref came down here again. Unless I went too far back.
Thank you.
Well, we can tell that pretty easy. Yeah, this is the engagement from before, I think.
Attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
No, it wasn't. Is it? Yeah, it is. This is the engagement from before.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So I gone back too much there.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So yeah, I'm just gonna go back
Dire's
to
middle tower
find
is
that.
under attack.
Okay, here we are. So he just comes back, right back into it. They need to win this lane. This might just be frustrating on his part. I don't think it's a particularly smart thing to do. Like I don't really. He just got killed here. We have the Timber Saw now. This should be easy peasy for us. I'm gonna go forward here, which is a big mistake. And you know, I just need a Skyref ulti and a punch to the face pretty much. But we have so many heroes here, it's gonna pan out for us anyway. Like we have literally every hero we have here. Okay, so I want to talk about that engagement real quick, because there's a lot of things in play here. So, first up, if we just look at the trades, we have Lion and myself, our 2 supports, for 2 cores. Is that good? Yes, that's good. But on the other hand, we have 3 other heroes down here. We had literally every other hero down here, which means that the Ember Spirit here, free roam to farm. So that's not good. And also our carry and all these got no farm out of it. They got 2 kills out of it, so you could say that's probably still gonna be a swing in our favor, but it isn't as good as it could have been. Like if Lion had survived, it would have been a lot better, like a lot better. But he went again. This is the trickiness of Bristleback. He just can't. I just kind of blundered into there. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I just kind of wandered into there and died, because I got a little bit too, you know. I just kind of thought we needed things to happen, and I'm not really the guy to initiate, but I kind of did anyway, just good to make it happen. And for me, it didn't pan out. It's still a win, but it could have gone a lot better. Yeah, we're actually gonna take an experience hit on that, I think. Yeah, looked like we were actually more ahead before that in experience, but the gold is also gonna be
Radiant's
worse.
top tower
actually.
is under attack.
So okay, yeah, maybe
Dire's
the
bottom
kill
tower
just
is under attack.
maybe it's just because the kill is.
Dire's structures
Yeah, okay, so
are
it's slightly better
fortified.
for us. We're also going to be able to
Dire's
pressure this
bottom
tower,
is
so
under attack.
if you factor that in, that's also pretty good. We've already killed the mid tower. This tower up here is the most important, because it protects their jungle. The second most important is the mid, same reason it protects their
Dire's
jungle.
bottom
It also
tower
protects
is under
Roshan.
attack.
Roshan not going to be the biggest player in this game,
Dire's
but
bottom tower has
this tower
fallen.
down here is the least important, because you don't really want to run around in here in the enemy's part, because that's really dangerous. And you kind of have to run up to these high grounds, which have, you know, limited vision, and you can get into a dangerous situation in that regard. So this tower, the least important, still good to kill it, still a lot of gold, but would definitely be better to take this one up here. So yeah, I'm just gonna run around and get some more awards up. Oh no, I'm actually looking for a kill on this Skyref. Looks like the Drow is looking for the same thing. She's just gonna stand around inside the Skyref ulti, which is really bad. Okay, so right there. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? Yeah, so let me just see if I can. There we go, and so you're gonna see he gets the 3-hand arm on him, and we get this. Yeah, okay, so she stands around stupidly inside the Skyref ult, the Mystic Flare, which is gonna do a ton of damage to her. It's gonna make Bristleback kind of want to dive in. He's gonna get hit by everything we've got. I'm even gonna spin my Chain Frost here, and that was because I was kind of afraid of him just bursting down the Drow. The Drow is the second highest priority hero we have, so I really didn't want that to happen. So That's kind of why I
Radiant's
did
top
that.
tower is under attack.
And I just spotted that I could bounce it between the bristleback and one creep there, so that's why I kind of just took the chance there. Also because killing bristleback fast is really important.
Scratches.
Yeah. So if we take a look at the hero levels, we are obviously ahead. We have the highest level by a good amount, and our anti-mage is not too far behind the leader of the pack. We actually have the 2 highest levels. Probably, okay, yeah, I'm at that as well, so we're gonna be able to pick off yet
Dire's
more
bottom
heroes here.
tower is
And now what we're seeing
under
is
attack.
us actually kind of taking control of the game. This is what it looks like when you're kind of winning really hard.
Dire's
So
bottom tower
if we
is
take a
under
look at
attack.
the net worth, now that we have kills, it starts to mean more than the last hits. Or more in terms of how strong the heroes are in the last hits. You can see Anti-Mage is doing his job, he's really leading the pack. And even our supports are doing better than their supports, so across the board we're doing better than the enemy team right now, I'd say. So this is at the moment looking like a kind of open shot game. So we can kind of take a look at the item choices here. It
Dire's
looks like
bottom
the
tower
lion
is
is
under
going for,
attack.
I'm gonna say this is either a Magnans or a Dagon. I think it's gonna be Dagon. I am going for Mech. Lion's gonna eat it. We roam too far, and I'm gonna eat it as well. Again, just roam too far. Timbersaw is actually gonna kill me by dealing damage to the Timbersaw's back, but Timbersaw's gonna get out. So, you know,
Radiant's middle
again,
tower
not
is
super
under
bad
attack.
losing 2 supports there. Timbersaw's gonna miss a Timber Chain, that's gonna be him. So this is pretty huge for them. Like, it's not the worst. Like, the 2 heroes that really need to kill, Throw, and
Radiant's top
the
tower
Anti-Mage
is under
is still
attack.
out up and running, and Anti-Mage just got his Battle Fury, so he's gonna start to
Radiant's
really farm out of
structures are
control.
fortified.
But it's good for them. Like, they can take this tower now. Again, least important tower, but still a tower, still gold. So
Radiant's top tower
this is gonna
has
mean
fallen.
a big gold swing,
Dire's
probably.
middle tower is under
Oh,
attack.
no, maybe not. Yeah, some gold swing we can see, and some XP swing. So so that's you know,
Dire's
that's really
middle
good for them.
tower is under
And also
attack.
it's good for morale. Just now they think they can take it because we just made a blunder there, and honestly just kind of gave them 3 hero kills they really shouldn't have gotten. So big mistake on our part. But Anti-Mage, ignoring it, completely ignoring that engagement as he should. Drow doing the same thing. They're just looking for last hits, and that's exactly what they should be doing. Like as a carry, that's honestly what you should be doing until you have good items up. Then, you know, just ignore the fights and go about your business. Hammer Spirit here, gonna pick up a Diffusal Blade. Don't agree with this at all. Like that does nothing for him. Like it's gonna purge, and it's
Radiant's
gonna
middle tower is under attack.
give you mana drain. And both of those not really important.
Dire's
I'm
turret
gonna
has
throw
been
out
killed.
the cost here, just to create chaos here, and just to kind of get a dangerous effect, do a bunch of damage. Not because it has much of a hope of killing anything, but just because it's probably gonna do a lot of damage in this situation. So this is gonna be a pretty even trade. Like Anti-Mage went down, Drow went down, Lion went down now, and I'm kind of gonna just struggle out of there. So that was bad. Like again, I just talked about how important these 2 were for
Dire's
us,
top tower
and they just
is
went
under
down.
attack.
And 2 of their cores are standing, only 1 of our supports are standing. So that was definitely the trade in their favor. Yeah. Not gonna see it reflected on my gold graph, but
Radiant's
I'm betting, yeah, the
middle
experience
tower is
graph
under
gonna
attack.
run down now. And they're gonna be able to get the mid towers. Definitely a win for them there.
Radiant's middle
We're completely
tower
even
has
on towers,
fallen.
like complete the same scenario on towers. You could argue this tower is more important for the Dire because it kind of gives you more control over Roshan. But still, it was a pretty bad fight, despite I think my chain force being good. Somehow they just kind of did what they needed to with those their spells, and yeah, we actually managed to kill the courier as well, which is maybe why we didn't see so much gold swing as I thought, because the courier gives a good amount of gold. Yeah, and honestly, me living through that, like the list living through that, is not huge. Like that's I am probably the hero you want least to make it through that. Though at least it let me get the mechanism up. Good healing item, of course. So there's that. There's that silver lining, if you will. So what do we have here? We
Radiant's
have...
top tower
We're kind
is
of just
under
roaming in,
attack.
hoping for kill here. Lion's gonna be way far forward. And he's just gonna run into 3 heroes, and he's gonna go, oh shit, better make it out.
Radiant's bottom
Um,
tower is under attack.
So he should have died there, probably. If the Ember Spirit was a bit better player, or well, if he had played better right then, he would have been able to do something there. Yeah, and that was honestly really dangerous and a little bit careless on our part. I don't really know, like I don't think that's the cleverest things we're doing right there, but we could have maybe gotten a kill if it had been like the Drow or the Timber Sword going forward. Again, that's the trouble with not having a proper initiator, is that we just kinda
Radiant's
lacking
bottom
anyone who
tower
can just
is
start
under
a fight
attack.
in our favor. Like there isn't really someone who can do that on our team. Here, I've got a few illusions, just gonna
Dire's
have
top
them
tower
around,
is under
gather
attack.
information, maybe they'll burn a spell on it or two. They probably won't since they can see me over here. So they know the
Dire's
real one's probably
structures
over
are
here.
fortified.
Crystal Maiden will be way out of position here, we're gonna get a free kill on her. It's really good. They're gonna follow the Drow in here, which is huge. Like that is the best possible scenario for me, because I've got Chain Frost up,
Dire's
and I
top
really
tower
want to use
is
it.
under
I
attack.
so want to use it here. There we go. And now I see 2 targets. So I'm just gonna look good. I'm gonna be. They're actually gonna combo the. So yeah, I used the.
Dire's
Okay. Okay, that was a pretty good fight. So let's just see if I can. Okay, where we at? Okay, we're there. So here, yeah. So we got a free kill on the Crystal Maiden down here. They've got an Ember Spirit who's free farming down here, which is really smart from them. If they did it deliberately, I don't think they did, but the Ember Spirit being down there farming is actually really good for them. They all went in here, which is really bad. They should not all have went in here. They could have just sent the Bristleback in, and he would have been doing as much as they did. Drow has a Shadow Blade, so she's just gonna make it out. But what's gonna happen is we're gonna see a few combos. Actually, we're gonna see them. Okay, can I? There's a little bit of a bug, so I'm just wanna see if I can. So let's see. Oh, they're still floating around. Ah. Okay, so let's just see. People
Radiant's
floating
bottom
around.
tower
Nope,
is
okay.
under attack.
So,
Radiant's bottom tower.
sorry about this,
Dire's
but
top-
yeah,
Dire's
it's just so annoying
structures
to
are
look at.
fortified.
There we go. So they follow Drow in here. Drow Shadow Blades gets out. Really smart from her.
Dire's top
I'm
tower
really
is
looking
under
for
attack.
what's it called? A Chain Frost here, but they're kind of burst out and they're a little bit too spread out. I pick up on this. I see that the Bristleback is silenced, so I'm not too afraid of it. And I can get up a good Chain Frost here. Gonna do a lot of damage. They actually combo. That was me being held in place by the Overgrowth, and then just getting a Mystic Flare planted on me. If they did on a Drow, that would have been way better for them, but they didn't. They did it on me, and I'd already spent my most important spell, so that wasn't so good. We get the tower, we get 3
has
kills
fallen.
for 1. And probably our least important hero. Like, even the Lion, if Lion can get up a few items, it's
Radiant's
more important
bottom
than me at this
tower
point.
is under
I have the
attack.
2 things I really need. Even if this guy is down here and he's getting a good amount of farm, if we take a look at the last hits, I'm willing to bet. Okay, Anti-Mage really doing a good job on the farming here. We can see he also
Dire's
has the
top
Yasha
tower
up.
is
He's
under attack.
he's the better part of the way towards
Radiant's
his
bottom tower is under attack.
his Manta style actually, and he's doing really well in that department.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
So this okay, this December Spirit, like the Diffusal Blade was an auto, the Crystallis he's making here is better, but it's still not, like he's not doing it super fast, and he's not doing it, it's not gonna, I don't know if it's gonna be enough, like it's really weird. Timbersaw actually kinda doing okay, like he's got his Perseverance, which means he's about 2,000 gold away from his Bloodstone, because he can disassemble the Arcane Boots, and that's really the hallmark item for him. Like, things really start to go differently for Timbersaw once you get that Bloodstone. If you can get that Bloodstone, keep charges on it, things are going well for him. Really well. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a pipe just because, you know, they have the Sky Wrath and the Ember Spirit, and I really want to negate some of that magical damage. Yeah, so Anti-Mage being annoying and just using his Blink to farm really with impunity. And yeah, that's gonna work out for him. Like, he's 4-1-4
Dire's top tower is under
doing
attack.
really well on the farm. And he is honestly just starting to become really scary. Like, they need to shut him down, and they need to shut him down relatively fast. And I don't know what avenues they really have that can hope to do that. Bristleback's got Vanguard, Power Threads, Chainmail, and he's going for a Blade Mail. So, not super scary. Would love to see, instead of this Vladimir, it's probably going to be, he's going to build his
Radiant's
Basilisk
bottom
into
tower
Vladimir.
is under
Should
attack.
have seen a Blink Dagger on this guy. Just Blink Dagger forward, use Overgrowth to initiate. That would have put me in a good spot. Drow again with the habit of just standing inside the Mystic Flask and eat that. I thought Drow played a little bit better than that, but apparently not. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go through this fight just... Actually, I'm just gonna go back and do it now. So, let's just wait and see. It's gonna be a big fight over here. Yonder, probably in a little bit. So... There we go, and... Okay. That's annoying. There we go. It's gonna start out with Drow initiating on the Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit gets saved by the Treant Protector with his living armor. He then gets burst down anyway. The Drow dies to the Skywrath ult, she just stands in. Treant puts down a nice ult here. They combo it up with Crystal Maiden here. So that's really good for them. I fire off the mech to keep my team alive a little bit longer. Though it's not gonna do us too much good. Maybe it can save the Timber Saw, but I'm not sure about it. Anti-Mage gonna try and see if he can kill the Bristleback here. He's gonna make a big mistake here and actually try to commit to this kill, which is really bad. He's trying to kill, to get a kill, even though, you know, there's way higher priority in these two. He's actually got the courier in here, which is super bad. Super freaking bad. Yeah. Timbersaw getting saved by missing his Timber Chain there. Because he can't go into this. So we just traded 3 for their hard carry. Which is honestly okay. Like, this guy needs to be kept down. Though, if we'd lost Anti-Mage, it would have been so much worse. Still not good for us. Still not super good, but... it's okay. Just because we really don't want that this guy to have an easy time. That would be the worst. Though Skywrath, I think certainly the scariest player on their team right now. Looks like he might actually be going for a Bloodstone as well, which is odd. Maybe he doesn't know that he needs to be going for that int. Well, at least you can, like, it's only one ability. You could opt for something else, but I think, you know, Rod of Atos is such a good item on him. Would really love to see that picked up instead. So they do actually have a few combos on their team, and they do have a way to make Crystal Maiden's Freezing Field effective. So, yeah, I hadn't seen that coming. And Bristleback, even though he had a rough start in lane, is doing pretty good on the kills now, so... We have no one that's really dominating, but... Bristleback is actually getting a decent amount of farm there. Again, confined space, no creeps to take the hits. Tons of damage from the Lich ults. We're just gonna roll them over here. They just got...
Many a grave is hidden.
Yeah, let's just go through that again. Not just because we crushed them, but because we can maybe learn a little bit. So, this is okay from them. They're putting pressure on here. They just kind of want an engagement, so they want to capitalize on it. They do have a good amount of their ultis up. Yeah, they just don't have the freezing field, which is not... I think they can take a fight without it, but they're gonna be around here, which is kind of bad place to take a fight for them. And we're just gonna be able to walk in and take a fight. Just because, yeah, there we go. Drow comes from over here and silences them, pushes them together, and they're not able to spread out fast enough to avoid really taking a lot of damage from my Chain Frost. And then we had, I think, Finger as well, and, you know, just ton of damage. So yeah, bad positioning, bad play from them. Would have probably better liked to see them not pressure this tower, actually. Though, you know, it was decent. Like, it wasn't the worst decision ever. It was just kind of the positioning last minute that then screwed them over there. But now we are most certainly winning even more than before. So this is where the game is sort of spiraling out of control for them. Even though they had a few good fights, now it's looking really dire. No pun intended. But let's just pause for a second, or
Dire's
turn the
middle
speed
tower
way down,
has fallen.
and look at what they do have got going for them. So let's see. Crystal Maiden, she's got what she needs. She's got some odd item choices, but she's focusing on the support items. No big story there. The other support, Treant, he's
Dire's
working towards
bottom tower
Vladimir still.
is under
I don't think
attack.
that's going to make a huge difference for them. I would much rather love to see a Blink Dagger on him. Be much better. Huge fan of the Blink Dagger, been used in so many situations, so that's very good. Ember Spirit, he's got a big damage item up, but it's not really super huge. If you compare him to our Anti-Mage, who has now got his second big item, the Manta style up, he is starting to get really scary. So, yeah. Don't really think they have anything to match up to the Anti at this point. Drow Ranger is level 16, their Skywrath is level 14, the Invoker's level... Oh, Invoker. It's called Skrillvoker, that's why. He's only level 11, so that's also kind of going against him. The Skywrath don't have a major item yet. He's got kind of working towards a Bloodstone, but hasn't quite got it yet. So yeah, things not looking super hot for him. We've got a Bloodstone with 13 charges on the Timbersaw, so that's scary. We've got, you know, yeah, we have the Drow, who's actually also got a Crystallis and a Shadow Blade, and a Hammer of the Dominator now, so she's looking kinda scary as well. Tons of damage coming out from this girl. So yeah, really would not want to engage that at all with them. So, pretty much, I think we have the harder carry. We have, yeah, he has farm. We've got our cores online. They don't really have theirs online. Like Bristleback, you could say he's online. Like he's got the 2 items he really needs. He's actually got the Blade Mail now, which is going to be a little bit interesting. Like he certainly can do a lot of damage to me and to Lion if we try to use all this on him. But I don't think it's going to be game changing. And aside from that, they're kind of, yeah, fallen drastically behind, as you would expect at this point. Anti-Mage just gonna be farming up and gonna be getting his Black King bar. Of course, just with a Black King bar and doing this much damage, he's pretty much gonna be able to win fights for us. But he's gonna be
Dire's top
maybe
tower is under
a bit
attack.
overconfident here. He's gonna get silenced. This is looking bad. He's gonna eat every spell they have, and this is just Anti-Mage being a bit overconfident. But we are gonna
Dire's
trade with a
bottom
tier
tower
2,
has
so
fallen.
I would say that is probably still a win for them. Like he's gonna be out for a minute. That is huge. That is not good at all. But you know, getting a tier 2 at least in trade is pretty good. But you know, he's the hero they really want to kill. That's the way back for them. Is just killing their Anti-Mage. Because he is worth so much more than every other hero in the game. He's nearly worth twice their hard carry, so he's worth twice their other cores. So that's obviously the huge boogeyman on our team. So yeah, just some standard moving going around. This Lion being really brave, and by brave I probably mean stupid here. Gonna be alone in mid, and I think actually here I told him that I thought he should go back because he's probably just asking to die over there. I'm still working on my pipe just to kind of negate the damage if they like. I think the one way they can kind of get back is by Skywrath and Crystal Maiden kind of get these huge damage magic spells up. But I don't think they're gonna get that. They were just checking Roshan. They were kind of running around out here. They do have Bristleback who can really help with Viscous Nasal Goo to
Haste.
You know, lower Roshan's armor, which is one of the really good ways to kill him. You always hear casters harping on about Medallion of Courage or Alchemist or Slaughter, just being able to help kill him so bad. Now our 2 cores gonna engage here without the rest of us. I think this is a pretty bad mistake because they're ahead, but not that far ahead. I don't know what happened to Anti-Mage there. Did he just leave? Oh, he's still here. So they got Drow there. I don't think there's any reason why they should get Drow. Yeah, so that was just 2 of us engaging there, and we got 5. So this game is ending fast. So yeah, we're gonna get mixed mid-backs here.
Dire's Radiant's top tower is... Dire's middle barracks are under attack. Dire's middle barracks. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So there we go. Yeah, Mid-Rax falls, nothing too eventful, and we go right back to farming. Like, Anti-Mage is even gonna stack up their Ancients before farming their Ancients, which is sort of just a double whammy. Like, it's a denial and a farm in one. But they're gonna smell it down here, they're all gonna come down here, and Anti-Mage is just gonna eat it again. Honestly, he could have blinked there. He could have just blinked right down here, he could have blinked, like, walked a little bit forward and blinked down here, and he might have been safe. But he didn't react in time, so again, really big kill for them, just with the Anti-Mage not paying attention for a second there. Yeah. Bristleback, Timbersaw. Timbersaw getting his blade mill up and running. Kinda good, like, if they wanna just throw out a Mystic Flare or a Freezing Field, he can just walk into it with this and they'll take a ton of damage. He's got a ton of HP, he's got a ton of when he's got a reactive armor up, he's got a ton of regen and a ton of armor, so really hard to kill. So blade mail, a decent choice on him. It wouldn't be my first choice. Like, I think a Shiva's Guard working towards that would be way better. But you know, he bought it. We've got a blink on the line. Yay, love that. So he can just blink in, throw out his X, throw out his stun, throw out his good stuff, and that's now we have a way to really solid way to start fights, even more than before. Working on a Manta on the Drow Ranger, so that's kind of good. Yeah, so things just still, like, even with Anti-Mage kind of having these two dumb deaths, we are still 20,000 ahead in XP and gold, and that 20,000 gold lead is huge. That's 10 blind daggers. Wow, that is almost insurmountable. So yeah, I hope you've learned a little bit from this replay. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil things and say that we win from here. Though I think there's one more fight where we kind of mess up maybe. But yeah, I hope you've been able to see some of the more interesting tactics from kind of mid-level play, so to say, with stacking and pulling, and Trilanes and how they work, why they work. Yeah, here we go. Just stood inside the Mystic Flare, took a ton of damage from it.
Tower is under attack.
I'm able to throw out my ulti here. You know, it did a lot of damage, it did max damage. But maybe I should have just saved it, just because it couldn't really kill anyone there. It's more like it's just getting a bit of safety through. Yeah, Timbersaw gonna suicide there, so they won that fight. And they really should not have been able to. It's gonna give them a lot of gold, isn't it? No, actually. No, that did almost nothing. I don't really know. Did we only lose Timbersaw?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, okay. Like, okay, because Timbersaw suicided, they only got Drow. So that wasn't actually huge at all. That was actually a really good defensive thing I threw out there. Didn't I die there? I thought I died there. Anyway, we've taken a look at the stacking and pulling here, and how to block the camp and prevent that, what it does to the off lane. We've taken a little bit of a look at how to run a tri-lane in general, just with harassing the off laner and all that good stuff. Talked a little bit really fast about what you would do against the dual lane, which is just look for kills mostly, but you still want to pull and stack, especially if they have a good combo lane. And we're taking a look at what makes a good off laner, how you can analyze how the game is going in replays, and a lot about hero compositions in games, and you know what makes them good. So I hope you've been able to learn something, and I'm just gonna let's just commentate this out and see what happens. So yeah. I don't do so much with carries. Like, you've probably noticed that 90% of my games are with supports. And I actually paused the game. Oh right, we had Lion went AFK. I forgot that. Yeah, so Lion goes AFK, and even though the game is secured from us, so our opponents weren't very happy with us pausing. And honestly, Lion shouldn't just go AFK, but you know, it really sucks in a game you've already won to get an abandon because you had to go do some stuff. Our Anti-Mage is getting closer and closer to 6 slotted. Like, if this, you know, he's about 1.5 slots away, I think. If you can say it like that, but he's getting really scary. just blinking in here and trying to farm is honestly kind of risky. If there's something here that can stun him, if there was a Skyraft, for instance, he can just be screwed. But there wasn't, so he got a bit lucky there. Now he's gonna hang around again. Oh, he's gonna make it this time. Yeah, okay. Probably should have BKB there. No, he's just gonna turn and fight. So we're gonna look for fight again. I was kind of holding off on the chain frost there just because I did not want to hit the Bristleback's blade mail, because that would be yeah, okay. Ember Spirit, you can't see in here, so we didn't actually have vision there of him, so he avoided dying like that. But we're gonna, you know, just get a few easy kills here. They don't really have a hope of winning a fight. It's gonna be really hard for them now. Even though Ember Spirit has a Daedalus, this pretty much only has this diffuser bait. It's not gonna do super much against us.
Is under attack.
Yeah.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Yeah, so I think actually the player, if I were to call an MVP on our team, it would I think the two players that played the best on our team was the Timbersaw did a really good job on the offlane, and Anti-Mage here did a really good job on farming. Like, if you look at the last hits now, yeah, he's got a ton. Like, and of course it escalates. Like when you're in a good position, it's easy to get them. So, but yeah, I think they did a really good job. I think I had some really good, some of my best chain frosts I've ever done in this game. But really solid game all around. Yeah, even with a good freezing field and a good ulti from Skyraft there, all that happens is they almost all that happens is that they almost kill something. So this is very GG. So yeah, I have been. Well, my name is Cerubellum. I hope you've enjoyed this little introduction to Captain's Mode and Trilanes and all this good stuff. And if you have, please consider subscribing. Yeah. Let's get the winning shot in. Okay. Yeah, so Crew's gonna be completely alone, kinda YOLOing around a bit, just kinda, you know, it's one, haha, whatever. Yeah, so. Actually gonna end it now, so. Yeah, thanks for watching.